A young person in India, on average, spends 18 years between the four walls of a school, a college, or a university. They almost spend 7 hours a day poring over books, listening to lectures. What kind of human being is emerging from this education? What is this education churning out? So much of life and time is being spent between the four walls of schools and educational institutions. Currently, there are almost 26 crores of children and youth going to school in India. What for? Is this not an important question every parent, every teacher, and every leader must find answer for? What is the purpose of Indian education today? And why are we sending our children to school? Basically preparing young people for a livelihood or for taking up a profession, be it a medical profession, engineering, a scientific profession, a legal or artistic profession, or an academic profession. It is focused on creating successful robots who can survive in the world and keep pace with the financial rat race. And the success of schools and colleges is measured by the number of doctors, engineers, and chartered accountants an educational institution is able to churn out. It does not care for how bored and burnt out a student is. This is the reality, right? And this is what parents want. This is what the institution wants. This is what society wants from an educator. Is any of us bothered about what is happening to the being of the child? Are our children happier, stronger, and more conscious because of the education they're going through? Or are they stressed out, irritated, and anxious? Let us have an open hearted conversation today. Namaste. I meet so many students from all sections of society. Most students are 99% of the times unclear of what they want. How will such a student ever pay attention? How will such a student enjoy learning? That is why the biggest struggle in Indian classrooms that teachers endure is not so much teaching the curriculum, but to hold the attention of the students and to inspire them. For the vast majority of students, education is a mere routine, a rigmarole they are going through. Please think about it. Is such an education enough? Is it preparing students for the complex future that awaits them? One that is filled with uncertainty and accelerated change. Let us look at history. For almost 1,000 years, India's GDP was nearly 35% of world's total GDP. How do you think this would have happened without brilliant people? We had the world's greatest education for over 1500 years. Our universities of Takshashila and Nalanda had over 10,000 students and 1,000 professors. Look at the student-teacher ratio. It's 1:10. And we had an incredible network of Gurukula education that specialized in specific branches of knowledge like surgery, medicine, architecture, astrology, and Vedic math. Their core focus was on creating a superior human being. Almost all of this was destroyed through history by foreign invasions, and the worst were the British. In 1700, when the British entered India, we were still 28% of world's GDP. By the time they left, we were mere 3% of the world's GDP. We were groping in the darkness of poverty and famine. How did they manage to bring us to such ruin? Apart from looting India in the name of taxes, they ruined our education and created a structure that will only generate clerks who will be useful to the British Empire, not fearless thinkers and emotionally whole human beings. If we have to create a mighty nation that will contribute to the well being of the planet as a whole, we need to create fearless thinkers and joyful and passionate young people. We need to create people who can find solutions to the numerous problems of humanity and earth. We need to kindle a passion in them for learning, growing, and contributing to the greater well being. Please understand that young people today are going through the biggest emotional crisis than ever in history. Let me give you some statistics to understand this. Indian youth population is more than 434 million. 7 out of every 100 teenagers in classrooms are depressed. 15 out of every 100 teenagers in classrooms suffer from anxiety. 7 out of every 100 teenagers in educational institutions are either using alcohol or tobacco. Young people in towns and cities are 2 times more prone to mental health problems than youth in villages. The fact is that in spite of all the initiatives the government may be taking, there is a massive crisis as we are speaking in youth mental health. It needs every one of you to step in. To imagine that some very young, brilliant students too are part of these statistics must be very painful. I am sure. The situation today for young people is very complex. They are going through enormous psychological pressure due to peer pressure, family pressure, societal pressure, pressure from schools, job pressure, and the natural pressure that gets built because of the biological changes in their body. This psychological pressure is pushing them towards addiction, loss of attention in classroom, and inability for creative learning, and a total loss of purpose. As teachers, parents, and leaders belonging to a senior generation, you may wonder why your young people complain of so much psychological pressure. The fact is, compared to you, most of the lives today are far more comfortable and luxurious. It is so easy for you to judge them as a pampered lot. But in comparison, they are going through an accelerated change of time that we did not go through when we were young. Your judgment will shut your heart to them. Please keep your heart open and look deeper. One of the top reasons for why young people are so pressured is the large-scale breakdown of families. This is the first generation of young people in India who are exposed to such fragility in relationships. There is a huge amount of dissonance between children, parents, and grandparents. And there is non-availability of caring adults at home. The second reason is students today have global exposure through social media, and the downside of it is the crazy comparison with celebrity lifestyle and celebrity kids. Their comparison today is not with a boy or a girl in the family or the neighborhood. It is with international pop stars and popular film stars. The result is young people who are frustrated with their reality. Youth who are dissatisfied with what their parents can afford for them. The third reason is that the youth today are caught unawares in a revolution that is sweeping across the globe. And they are battling with uncertainty that is confronting them because of this revolution. In an earlier age, it was certain that if you had the right qualification, you would land a secure job and you would live securely that way until you were 60. Not now anymore. Why? We are going through a change of age right now globally. Look at history. The first revolution was a shift from animal labor and human labor to steam power. The second revolution was discovering electricity and telephone communication. The third revolution was the discovery of internet and computing. The fourth revolution, sweeping now, is artificial intelligence and virtual reality. Vertical farming, floating farms, nanorobots doing surgeries, gene editing, artificial intelligence lawyers solving your legal issues, virtual classrooms, and artificial intelligence teachers. This is the new reality. It is a very different world they are entering into, one for which they are completely unprepared. The fact is, you are totally unprepared to guide them into this world. Can you feel how unsettling it can be for young people to really face the uncertainty of their future? Terrified of this uncertainty, they are burying their heads in all sorts of escapes, like ostriches that bury their head in the sand. I am not merely talking about a problem. We have a magnificent solution for this situation. But it can only be successful if you, as parents, educators, and leaders, will become part of the solution. Shri Preetaji and I are very passionate about helping young people emerging into transformed leaders, helping them come out of their emotional issues and cultivate mind wellness. For we believe that only conflict-free individuals can truly be creative leaders. Only spiritually conscious young people can truly care for Loka Kalyana, universal well-being. They alone can emerge into transformed leaders for tomorrow. Our charitable foundation effort is called Oneness Young Leaders. We have globally nurtured over 500,000 students with our programs so far. So many universities and colleges are welcoming us to help the students with creating greater mental and emotional health. So many youth and teachers are volunteering to support their friends and students in cultivating greater awareness and art. We teach a path that is universal in its language, a path that is scientific. Ekam's path is experiential and not belief-centric. It encourages observation and inquiry. It builds sacredness towards life and relationships. We have created curriculum that can create intelligent minds, awakened hearts, and enlightened brains. If this vision of creating transformed future leaders for India resonates with you, we would love for you to join hands with us.